can just get us to stop preaching, then that serves his purpose. So if we get weakened to the state where that's happening to us, then we know that Satan is starting to make inroads. We have to come closer to Jehovah.
Very good. Thank you. Brother Allen?
So the hit is put out in a sense that he lures us away from that secure dwelling. He lures us away with things such as materialism, money, maybe some kind of prestige or position, things of that nature. Those are the things that he uses to get us out of that protection, and then we stop witnessing, or it slows down, and then we're no longer testifying against him and for Jehovah. And that's what he wants.
Right, you're absolutely right, Brother Allen. We can even continue to preach, but one way that he can cause us to actually put a hit on us is if we choose to look at, let's say, pornography. If we choose to listen to music that is a bass, that is basically pornographic in listening sometimes. If we read books and novels that are certainly unprincipled, if we watch television shows that are violating godly principles, he's put a hit out on us. We continue to preach. Our preaching is invalid as far as Jehovah is concerned, because, you see, we violated what was right, and we know that we did, and we did it deliberately. He brought us to that point. Sister Valenti, please.
And that's because of Revelation 12:17. It says, "And the dragon grew wrathful at the woman, and went off to wage war with the remaining ones of her seed, who observed the commandments of God, and had the work of bearing witness to Jesus." So Satan is at war. He doesn't have any rules. He doesn't have anything that a conscience about what he would do and what he won't do. He'll do anything. And his whole purpose is to stop us from being in that safe home, being protected from Jehovah, or protected by Jehovah, so that he can get at us and he can muddy us up, dirty us up, so that our witness is invalid.
Very good. Thank you. We have a scripture to be read, and thank you for reading that first one there. Brother Shawnee is going to read that science scripture for us. Isaiah chapter 54, verses 14 and 17, please.
Reads, "If anyone should at all make an attack, it will not be..." Am I reading the wrong one?
It's 14.
Oh, okay, let's try it again then. "And you will prove to be firmly established in righteousness itself. You will be far away from oppression, for you will fear none, and for anything terrifying, for it will not come near you." And 17 states, "Any weapon whatever that will be formed against you will have no success, and any tongue at all that will rise up against you in the judgment you will condemn. This is the hereditary possession of the servants of Jehovah, and their righteousness is from me. It is the utterance of Jehovah."
Very good. Thank you, brother. All right. Let's now go on to our next paragraph, please. Paragraph 11.
"Once again, let us learn a lesson from the patriarchs. Although they lived in the land of Canaan, they remained separate from the people of the land, whose wicked, immoral ways they hated. They were men of principle, who did not depend on a long list of do's and don'ts to guide them. What they knew about Jehovah and his personality was sufficient for them, because he was their dwelling. They did not want to get as close to the world as they could. Rather, they stayed as far away from it as possible. What a fine example they set for us. Do you strive to imitate the faithful patriarchs as to your choice of associates and entertainment? Sadly, some within the Christian congregation give evidence that, at least to a degree, they feel comfortable in Satan's world. If you feel that way even a little, pray about the matter. Remember, this world is Satan's. It reflects his cold, self-serving spirit.
Okay, paragraph 11 now. What lesson can we learn from the patriarchs? Sister DeSoto, please.
although they live in the land of Canaan, they remain separate from the people of the land, whose wicked, immoral ways they hated. And I remember a brother that gave a talk a while ago, and he was talking about the roaches, and he said even though they live in the filth, they are one of the cleanest insects. So they keep themselves shiny and clean all the time.
Okay, thank you. Sister DeBelle, please.
And when we think about some of Satan's tactics, I remember years back there was a part on one of the assembly programs. A brother was talking about a person who had at one time been involved with demonism, and he had been affected by the demons for years, and at one point they stopped bothering him. And then when they came back to bother him, he asked them where they were, or where they'd been, and they said that they were out there persecuting the next generation of Jehovah's people. And when we think about it, he really is attacking the children, and that just doesn't affect them, but it also affects everyone else in the congregation.
Yes, thank you, Sister DeBelle. Okay, let's have our sister here in rare case. Your name, please.
Sister Kennison. And also, with the patriarchs, they based their life on principle, and they knew Jehovah. They didn't go off of a list of what they should or shouldn't do. They really knew him, and they knew what was okay and what wasn't okay to do. So we should take that as an example and really study Jehovah and really get to know him deep down inside.
All right, very good. Thank you. Because many things will come out that are not written down. It takes principle to see through it, doesn't it? Okay. All right, let's now go on to our next paragraph, please, paragraph 12.
In order to resist Satan's machinations, we need to take full advantage of the spiritual provisions that Jehovah makes for his household of faith, for those who make him their dwelling. These provisions include Christian meetings, family worship, and gifts in men, shepherds appointed by God to comfort and support us as we struggle with life's challenges. Brother George Gangas, who was a member of the governing body for a number of years, wrote, "When I am among God's people, I feel at home with my family in a spiritual paradise." Do you feel the same way?
Paragraph 12, our question, and we're going to ask Brother Kelvin to address the A portion of it, if you would, please, as requested. It says, how does Jehovah provide for his spiritual household?
He provides many good, important things. We have the Christian meetings, family worship. We have the appointed shepherds, our elders in the congregation that we can call back on so as to help us when we seem like we've stumbled or fallen. So we can be provided for this protection within the congregation.
Okay. Some of the aspects of those provisions, again, anyone care to touch on those individually or reports? Let's see. Let's have Sister Kelton, if you would, please.
One of the provisions that we can really appreciate are the Christian meetings, because it's here at the Christian meetings that we're among friends, we're among family, and we get to give encouragement to one another as well as to give encouragement from one another. And it is one of the few places that we can go where we can be at peace for a few hours each week.
Yes. You know, in times of battle, in ancient times of battle, they would have a mutual retreat. They would pack up a mutual retreat, and you know what they would do? They would prepare their armament. And that's our mutual retreat, coming back to these meetings that we have each week. We're able to take a look at our armor and do what? Sister Rader.
Repair it, sharpen our spiritual, sharpen our spiritual armor. And I appreciated what Brother Genghis said. He was from the governing body. He said, when I am among God's people, I feel at home with my family in the spiritual paradise. That's the way we should feel. And it's interesting because one person right here in the Kingdom Hall who was just studying, I asked him how did he like, the meetings and everything. He said, I feel at home. So that's the way we should help our brothers and sisters, help them to feel at home and help them to realize this is the place where we all want to be.
That's very good. Thank you. Brother Allen.
And you contrast that with what was mentioned in paragraph 11. It says here, sadly, some within the congregation have given evidence that at least to a degree they feel comfortable in Satan's world. Some, unfortunately, would rather be at work or maybe doing overtime as opposed to being here at the hall with the friends. Perhaps some would rather be doing other things on Saturday morning as opposed to being out in the ministry or meeting with the field service group, like Jehovah is actually asking us to do. Feel comfortable, more comfortable out there in Satan's world, then we need to really take a look at that and pray to Jehovah to help us with that.
Yes, very good. Thank you. So these provisions we have, even the shepherds in the congregation is appointed by God. They meet the requirement. And sadly, believe it or not, some have even tried to dismiss or perhaps even take luster off of their appointment in a congregation, maybe because of some personal disappointment. If we do that, brothers, we're heading for disaster. You see, so we have to take full advantage of Jehovah's provisions. It's important that we do, every single one of us. Let's now go on to our next paragraph, please. Paragraph 15.
Another quality of the patriarchs that is worthy of imitation is their willingness to stand out as different from the people around them. As noted in paragraph 1, they publicly declare that they were strangers and temporary residents in the land. Are you resolved to stand out as being different? Granted, doing so is not always easy, but with God's help and with support from your fellow Christians, you can succeed. Remember, you are not alone. All who want to serve Jehovah have a fight on their hands. Still, it is a fight we can win if we trust in Jehovah and make him our secure dwelling.
What important lesson can we draw from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 13? Brother Deach, please.
The thing that's highlighted from that verse is commented on this paragraph is that those ones publicly declared they're strangers and temporary residents in the land. They made it known. So the question then comes to us, do we make it known, and do we feel in our hearts and our minds that we are alien to this world? We want no part of it. And then do we show this by our zealous preaching activity, doing what Jehovah tells us to do?
Thank you. Okay. So we have as the paragraph helps us appreciate, we have more than just simply a struggle. What do we have? I'm sorry, Sister Amy, your thought.
It's brought out in Ephesians. We have this fight, and it's not something against humans, but as we know, Satan is the ruler of this system of things, and this fight that we have against is this wicked spirit forces. So obviously, we're not going to be able to win this battle by ourselves. We have to definitely put our full trust and confidence in Jehovah, and by doing that, we're making him our secure dwelling place, and we definitely will be able to succeed.
Very good, thank you. And that fight takes place against the organization, against the congregation, against us individually. Individually, believe it or not. You know, it might surprise you, but I always felt that the demons have a return visit book as well. You know, What has Mike been thinking about? Well, we kind of influenced him the other day, maybe perhaps take a look at this or do that. I'm going to put something in front of him just to kind of warm that thought up again. I'm going to try to get him to step forward in that. Yeah, he's a return visit. How better to have do not return when you think about it. So our actions and what we lean toward makes that fight either successful or a failure. So we don't want to give him anything to work with, do we? We don't want to be in his RV book. Okay, let's now go on to paragraph 14.
Also important is this: imitate Abraham by keeping your eyes on the prize. The Apostle Paul wrote that Abraham was awaiting the city having real foundations, the builder and maker of which city is God. That city proved to be the Messianic kingdom. Abraham, of course, had to await that city. In a sense, we do not. It is now ruling in heaven. What is more, mounting evidence indicates